Hello and welcome to the third Sam Hossack Media podcast episode. We will get to our guest today on our episode here shortly, but first I would like to talk about a tragedy that could easily be avoided. On January 17, 2021, the Communications Center of the Aurelia Detachment of the Ontario Provincial Police received a 911 call from a Robbins Point Road, Victoria Harbour resident after hearing a call for help from the waters of Sturgeon Bay. On Sunday, OPP officers, along with the members of the Tay Township Fire Service and Simcoe County Paramedic Services, attended an area north of the intersection of Robbins Point Road and Osborne Street in Victoria Harbour. Officers were able to locate some clothing at the scene, and later in the evening, investigators were in receipt of a missing persons report of two overdue snowmobilers from the Aurelia area. Unfortunately, as a result, a childhood friend of mine, Donnie Bremner, and his father, Gerald, were found by the OPP Underwater Search and Rescue Team shortly after 11 a.m. on Monday. Members of the Southern Georgian Bay OPP want to remind all persons who do venture outdoors that area ice surfaces may be snow-covered and appear safe to travel on. But unfortunately, locally, we have not had the kind of weather required for the formation of ice required for winter activities. So if ice travel is necessary, please check with local residents and fish hut operators before heading out on any ice surface. With that being said, I would like to extend my prayers to the Bremner family, and this episode is for you, Donnie. And now, this interview of the Sam Hossack Media podcast is brought to you by Juice Plus, a line of whole food products to bring the gap between what you eat and what you should eat. Juice Plus, the next best thing to fruits and vegetables. For more information, please contact independent distributor Shelley Hossack. And now, without further ado, I would like to welcome today's guest for our podcast. He is a Richmond Hill Coyotes legend, a captain of the Newmarket Hurricanes of the Ontario Junior Hockey League, and an all-around great guy. Please welcome to the Sam Hossack Media podcast, Sheldon Nolan of the Adrian College Bulldogs.
I appreciate that, buddy. Thanks for having me. It's awesome that we still stay in contact and can do these things. So it's awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and we'll get right into things here. About 5 or 6 years ago is when we first met. You were a member of the Richmond Hill Coyotes midget AAA team, and I was working with the North Central Predators. So just talk about that year for you guys in Richmond Hill. 30 wins out of 32 games, I believe it was, and a big playoff series against us where we took you all the way and almost got you in the first round. But just talk about that year.
Yeah, those two midget years were definitely two of my funnest years of hockey. We had a great coach there, and we had a bunch of guys that we really all knew each other from playing against each other or together growing up. And we kind of formed this super team, if you could say. And we really had a great midget year. I think we only lost the one or two games all year and had a great playoff run, but unfortunately, Whippy got us in the second round and had to call it a year. But it was a ton of fun. I still talk to all the guys on that team, and yeah.
Absolutely, and that next year you went to the Newmarket Hurricanes of the Ontario Junior Hockey League, where you spent your entire OJHL career. So talk about the years in Newmarket and how great of an organization that was.
Yeah, Newmarket was awesome. It was close to home. It was only a 30-minute drive, and the guys I met in Newmarket, the few different coaches I had, where we just always were that underdog team, and no one expected us to do anything big, and we always proved them wrong. So 3 great years in Newmarket. The organization was great, and I can't say a bad thing about it. I hope they bring back an OJ team. That's what I'm hoping.
And now, obviously, with you being down at Adrian College, that's kind of being the main focus for this interview. Obviously, your first year there last year, how did it go adjusting to a new team and a new country, first of all?
So yeah, my freshman year, it was back to school. So I was taking some college courses when I was playing in Newmarket, but not to the scale of how busy I am here at school. So that was an adjustment in itself, and just a whole new group of guys. I only knew maybe 2 guys coming in before I even came here. So complete new group and learning different things. And my coach out here, Gary Estalos, he's a really great guy. And he made it really easy to transition right to come into the lineup. And we had a great year last year. We only ended up losing 2 games out of the 30 something we played, and we're first ranked nationally going into the national tournament before it all got canceled.
Absolutely. And how tough was that to have that season canceled with you guys being right at the top with a good chance of winning it all?
Yeah, it was really tough. It almost felt like you lost. But I guess everyone kind of had that feeling after last year. I actually went home in March where the semester didn't finish out until April. I had some online school to finish up when I got home. But borders were closing and it was really cracking down. So it was definitely a different experience and one I don't even think we can prepare for. But we got through it and we're still doing all right.
And obviously, you guys went through the whole COVID thing at the end of last year and are going through it right now. So, take the listeners through what the procedures down there at Adrian College are for you guys every day.
Yeah, so before we came back for second semester, we had a full schedule lined up for first semester. I think it was 14 games we were supposed to play, and we only ended up playing 4. 2 of them versus an NOJHL team, so it wasn't even in our league. And then we played Liberty, which is technically the second ranked team in the ACHA. So it was pretty much the top dogs right off the bat of the season. And we ended up winning both games. But when we came back from the semester, we all had to get COVID tested before we got back onto campus in order to skate. And then pretty much every day when we got back, we were only doing pods. So there'd be like 7 or 8 guys on the ice. And that's what we had to do for the first couple of weeks of getting back before we could get the full team going back onto the ice. But now that we have the full team, we test in the mornings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you have to have that negative test result in order to continue playing and keep skating.
Now, as you mentioned, they're only playing 4 games this year. You guys are 4-0 in those games. Just take us through how the season has gone and the struggles you guys kind of face with having breaks in between, because you guys have had massive breaks in between those games.
Yep, it was definitely weird practicing every week and then hearing on the weekend that the team wouldn't be coming because of COVID cases. So then it was like you worked hard in practice all week, not to get rewarded with a game. So that was definitely really weird first semester. We actually played Indiana Tech this past weekend and beat them twice. So we're 6-0, and with the freshmen we've brought in, we're looking to be a top contender again this year. We lost a couple key seniors in our lineup, a couple good leaders, but they passed it on to the next guys, and we've just been keeping that environment really just holding it up to a high standard, making sure everyone's accountable.
And now, connection you have with your girlfriend there playing on the women's team. Is there a little bit of a rivalry between the two of you when playing games?
Yeah, well, I never really thought I'd have a girlfriend who played hockey, so that was new at first, having to watch her play and, get nervous and different stuff like that. So, there's a little rivalry. She had a really great season last year and popped quite a few goals, so I was always hearing about it and supporting her. And she was doing the same. So it's nice to have the rink right on campus so that we're so close to the game and can get there and watch every weekend pretty much.
And now, what does a normal game day look like at Adrian College?
Well, honestly, I've been trying to set up my semester so that Thursday, Friday, I don't have classes and just have a really busy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But this semester I'm in right now, I got at least 2 or 3 classes every day. So the morning usually looks like me waking up and making myself some breakfast and then heading over to class and getting that done. And then once I'm done with class around 2 o'clock, I'll try to squeeze in a little nap before I make dinner and head over to the rink. And then pregame stuff, get into the game, and after that, get home, get something to eat, and back at it again the next day.
And now, who are some of the teams that you play in the ACHA?
So we play a couple different teams. A lot of NCAA D1 teams actually have ACHA D1, like Mercyhurst. There's a couple other programs too. like Michigan State, all those teams. But we play different teams. Like we got Ohio on our schedule. We just played Indiana Tech. In our division, we have Davenport. We have Eastern and Western Michigan. Um, so there's quite a few ACHA teams that usually our conference, which is the GLCHL, usually that conference, we're able to beat decently because Davenport, which is the second highest ranked team in the GLCHL, is only ranked like maybe 12th or 17th nationally around there. So usually the better teams we play, like Liberty or like Ohio State or Lindenwood's really good, Minot. All those teams, we usually schedule like a home and home scenario where we'll travel there 1 year and then they might travel to us 1 year.
Now we'll get into some questions, just kind of have fun here. Best and worst chirper on your team?
Best and worst chirper, oh man. Well, the best chirper, I'd have to say either a guy like Tyler Fife or even our goalie, Andrew Wagner. He's got some good chirps, but worst chirper, I'm gonna have to go with the new goalie we got, Harrison Fleming. He's got some bad chirps.
Best and worst style off the ice?
Oh, style off the ice. Best style, I got to go with my buddy Dominic Moore and even Tyler Fife again. I'll throw him up there. Manny Silverio, a couple guys got some good style. Worst style, maybe Brody Thornton. He's got a mullet. He's got some sick style that it's pretty funny.
Yeah, the mullet kind of throws it off, I guess, being in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Best and worst road trip to go on?
Oh, best road trip, I'd say in my time here at Adrian, we went to Liberty, which was like a 10-hour bus ride. It was a long trip, and we ended up staying overnight. And the games were broadcasted on ESPN. They're a D1 NCAA D1 school, so they bring in like a really big crowd, and the environment was sweet. It was just a great hockey game to be a part of. 2 games in a row we had, so it was pretty awesome. And worst barn, there's a couple really bad ones where like you don't even get into your dressing room like until an hour before your game or something, or they shove you all into one room and it's just crammed. But I'd probably say like either Eastern or Western Michigan. They got some dust rinks.
All right, now we'll go back a little bit to your OJHL days. Obviously, you being from Ontario, you kind of know how the OHL stuff works. So was the OJHL the kind of route you wanted to go, or were you thinking of trying to make it to the OHL, or was NCAA kind of thing you wanted to do, and that's why the OJ came up?
Really for me growing up, when I was playing and stuff, obviously the OHL is your goal when you're in minor midget. You really want to catch some attention, and there was a couple teams where they were interested, but I ended up playing some midget because of an old coach of my brother's, actually, Kevin Ryan. I'm pretty sure you know who Kevin Ryan is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Ryan, he was coaching the team, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna play some midget. And I knew that junior was an option. After my first year of midget, I was going to go out and play for Brockville in the CCHL, and I ended up staying close to home because I didn't want to graduate out in Ottawa, like just from high school. So I ended up staying at home and being with Newmarket. I didn't really know what my path was going to be. It kind of almost just took me. I was prepping to go to Powassan in the Noge, and I went out to Newmarket camp, and they really liked me. And I mean, it was just really, it was nice staying close to home, being with Newmarket and not having to go away. So then after that, when I was playing in the OJHL, I kind of had my mindset on, hopefully getting some sort of look from a school and being able to play hockey out at school, maybe get some sort of scholarship for playing. So that's really what my goal was. And it was pretty much little by little. I mean, I'd say in the OJHL when I was playing throughout my 3 years, I really just took it game at a time. And just really tried to get wins game in and game out, and that was more of my focus of the competitiveness rather than like where is my destination gonna be.
For sure. And let's go through some of these OJHL barns, best and worst.
Oh, I mean, best I have to go with Ray 20. I love that rink. I love playing in it. Every time I go in there, it brings a smile to my face, all the memories and stuff in there. And plus, it's a great complex too. I mean, a lot of seats for fans, big ice surface. But Oakville obviously had a great rink too. And the worst, honestly, I'm just gonna have to say I hated. Well, Aurora is kind of like a tough barn to play in, and it's kind of weird and untraditional, as well as Lindsay with those big steps down. You got to jump the
Yeah.
boards and stuff. It's um, that's a tough one to play in. But most hated rink to go to would have to be Iroquois Whippy's rink.
Yeah, it's
Just
always,
not a fan. It just brings back bad memories.
yeah, that's a tough barn to always go
It's a
into.
tough barn.
Now, obviously, you guys had some successful teams there in Newmarket. A huge playoff series win against the Aurora Tigers the one year as well. So, just talk about those rivalries you had in the OJ there.
Yeah, there was a couple good rivalries in our first year. We ended up beating Markham in a playoff series and then losing to Wellington. And then we ended up beating Aurora and losing to Markham that other year. My first year we lost to Trenton in the first round, but they had a team of the century there. They had a really good squad. Um, but yeah, there's definitely the OJHL was just so much fun over the years to be a part of and play with, and see all the guys, even the friendly rivalries with some of the guys in like the North Division, like the Stovilles and the Markhams and the Auroras. I knew a lot of the guys, so it was always fun playing against them, and it's good to see a lot of them have moved on and are still playing and are keep doing what they're doing.
Absolutely. And who are some of the guys on that Newmarket team you still keep in contact with?
Oh, I talked to a lot of the guys. I talked to Cole Howren and Nico Cerrone a lot. I talked to Adam Trotman, Adamo Santia. He's still playing out in the BCHL. But even like older guys like Mike Rogianakis, my D partner for the first 2 years in Newmarket, and even guys like Fraser Kirk I saw recently. We all got together. So I see a lot of the guys hanging around and keep in contact with them a lot.
Absolutely. And during your time in the OJ, obviously putting up points was a big thing. But obviously being in school too was also a big thing, as the OJ is kind of a development league where you're going D1 a bunch of the time. So was Newmarket one of the places that was kind of more school wise, or were they just kind of letting you play the games you guys wanted to?
But honestly, Newmarket, the one thing they never really were preaching school and school and school. Like obviously for some of the guys still in high school, it was important, if they had school stuff going on that they got it done, and if they had to miss a practice or whatever was going on. But like when we played in the showcase in my OA year, and I talked to about like maybe 10 NCAA D3 schools. And then I talked to Adrian, like the ACHA D1, and a couple other like just here and there schools. And it was a lot of like me keeping in contact with them and stuff. I'd say Newmarket was more like based on just coming to the rink every day and focusing on that. It wasn't a big specimen. Where I know some of the like teams like Oakville, Coburg, the teams that produce a bunch of the guys going to the schools, really helped them out with that. So
Now, for the teams you talked to from NCAA Division III, and then obviously Adrian College, out of them, were there any weird questions that you were asked by any of the schools?
weird questions. Honestly, I'm the type of guy that no question is ever a weird question. If you want to know it, you can ask me. I'm pretty straight to the point with it. I'll be as honest as I can be. So I wouldn't say there was any super weird questions.
Nothing like Kobe Doc and Stevie Y getting grilled about smoking weed or anything.
Yeah, nothing like that.
I know a buddy of mine, Ethan Cardwell, his NHL draft year when he was with Saginaw, the New York Islanders, I believe it was, gave him 250 multiple choice questions after a game that he had to fill out sitting at the rink for an hour, hour and a half. So,
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
yeah, I guess you're glad you didn't have to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't have to do anything like that, thank God.
Absolutely. Well, Sheldon, it's a pleasure as always to talk to you. Thank you for hopping on here. And just a reminder to the listeners, this interview of the Sam Hossack Media podcast was brought to you by Juice Plus, a line of food products to bring the gap between what you eat and what you should eat. Juice Plus, the next best thing to fruits and vegetables. And for more information, please contact independent distributor Shelly Hossack. Well, Sheldon, thank you for hopping on here, buddy. And
Yeah,
best
thanks a lot, buddy. We'll talk soon.
for sure.
Okay.